there! Surprise! Yes, surprise indeed. Good afternoon. Welcome back to Celtic World Order Podcast. As a surprise podcast, it's a wee pop-up. We thought to ourselves, why not get ourselves on here, catch up and talk about which was an excellent midweek victory over Holland against Feyenoord, and of course, looking ahead towards tomorrow, the capital against Hibs, and of course, Martin O'Neill's final bout and his second wee stint as Celtic manager. We do apologise for not getting on midweek. It wasn't for the wanting not to do it. It was just Paddy was over there and he was stuck in the middle of nowhere because as nice as a wee break is over there, the weather was choppy and he couldn't get himself back. And in between all that stuff, life gets in the way. But we're here now. We're going to do a wee quick one today. Breezy, go away through it and talk around it. But it is great to have you back here on the dry land, Paddy. How you doing? And as I says, it was a good result midweek. And as it said on the tagline there, that was the day that Celtic won away in Europe. But this is the time, mate. This is the moment. This is what we need to kick on. We need to build on this. It's a watershed victory. People will slag it off and say Feyenoord ain't the team they used to be and all that pish, right? But our away record is garbage after what happened in Midfield. It reignited, let's be honest, when you look at the remaining games. Celtic are now in with a real chance of progressing. We're in a decent spot. Hearts are playing right now. As it stands, they got off the hook. There was a disallowed goal. It's still nothing each. We're in a good wee spot as we look to bring Wilfred Nonce in after the nil parts. Am I right in saying that? Would you agree we're in a good spot?
Yeah, listen, mate, we're sitting pretty. Like you said there, Steve, was out in the Isle of Arran, absolutely fantastic. We break away with the family. Ferries get cancelled, got an extra couple of days. Thank you very much to the O'Cranie Spa for giving us an extra couple of days complimentary. I really appreciated that. That was lovely. But I sat and watched the game on my phone because I couldn't find anywhere on Arran that had the game. Somebody had said the golf course, but I drove past and it was the clubhouse was shut. So I just ended up sitting watching it on my phone. But listen, that's the kind of away performance. Obviously, going 1-0 down, I thought, right, here we go. Floodgates are going to open. We're just going to get trounced again. But they dug in. They showed a little bit of resilience. They showed something that we've been lacking. And I think players playing in different positions really, really helped that. Which I suppose we'll get to when we're breaking it down. But listen, fantastic result, and this is where we kick on for. This is
absolutely. It. Well, as we say, a wee bright and breezy, a wee bit of reflection on that. You've watched all numerous pods and things like that. And of course, as well, we'll have a wee look towards it. Just a wee generalised chat, a wee catch up, shoot the breeze, we like to say. Before we do that, once again, just want to thank everybody. We breached the 3,000 mark. Thank you to every single one of you that have taken the time over the past 19 months to tune in, to watch us, to support, to like, to share, to subscribe. We really do appreciate it. It is a tremendous landmark, and for us to hit 3,000 in such a short period of time is absolutely phenomenal. It's outstripped our expectations, and here's to the next 1,000 or so. So thank you to every single one of you for doing that. If you are new and you're catching up, hit subscribe. It costs you nothing. As we say a million times over, it costs you nothing to watch Celtic World Order, and it'll continue to be that way. So why not hit that subscribe button? It costs you nothing. Excellent. It's a deal. Bargain. It's like a Rangers transfer of old. It costs nothing. Although now they spend money and they don't get value for money. You get value for money with us because no money is involved. But if you want to do money involved, you can. Like the Bold 420, the member sections, a wee donation to the channel, $1.99. Once YouTube strip that away, I think we get about 90 pence or something, but it's better than nothing and it helps with all the overheads. So thanks to everybody that does that. Also, links are below. You know it by now, all the different social media. So anyway, let's get down to business, Paddy. We'll have a wee reflection back on the midweek result, as we said, because all right, Feyenoord are in a wee bit of disarray themselves. They're hardly on fire. They're in a bit of transition. But it's still a good team with good pedigree, and you can only play and you can only beat what's put in front of you. Now, would I say that Feyenoord on paper to me are a better team than Midfield? Yeah, I would probably say. I would say Feyenoord were going to, I'd expect them to have been tougher than Midfield. And after what we saw against Midfield, you think to yourself, and I'll be honest, hold my hands up. We were talking in the chat and I says, I think Celtic will beat 3-0 or something again. I says, I can just see it. And then, let's get on to it, Paddy. When that team lineup came out, I was like, I told you. So I'll own that. I'll always own that. But, mate, surprises left, right, and centre. You've got Luke McCowan on the right. You've got Yang back in there, and say Hatate, Engels. A wee bit of changes, and I was just thinking, right, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Even you've got to admit it. You texted and went, like, what the fuck? And I kind of says, stand up there, mate. It's what we've got.
I know when it came out, Stevo, and do you know that way you look through, and obviously when Martin O'Neill came in, you've had the joke ones with Johnny Gould in goals and Larson up front, whatever else. I thought this was one that somebody had put up to take the piss. I really did, because I looked at it and, like you said, Yang on the wing and McCowan in there as well, and young Kobe Donovan, who we'll get to. I thought, like, why? What are you doing here? Surely we can't be that short. Surely we must have other players that we can play in these positions, but listen, fair play. They must be seeing someone in training. They must have done something properly, because everybody on that park was a pass mark for me.
Well, Paddy, let's just talk through it and we'll really use it as a sort of crutch to think about, well, where do we go tomorrow? We're obviously up in the capital. We're playing against Hibs. The big question, of course, is always going to be, what version of Hibs are you going to get, right? Because they are the epitome of a hot and cold team. Sometimes they look fantastic. Other times they completely and utterly shit the bed, fluff their lines, and you don't know what you're getting. Knowing our luck, we'll probably get the good version of Hibs. That's not normally how it goes. But I think there's a lot of positives to take off that. And so says we need to build on it. Now, you mentioned a few guys, and let's talk about them. Let's just start and jump with Yang. Disclosure, I'm not in the Yang gang, right? I thought he had an excellent performance. I'm not in the Yang gang, but we look at guys and we sit here and we criticise. And I ask you the question, I says, if we get someone when we get Nancy in, right? When we get Nancy coming in there, he's going to be the manager. We know the system he works. It's all data driven and stuff like that, right? And I asked Terry this as well as yourself and said, do you think these guys that are maybe questionable, we get more out of them with a more forward thinking sort of manager? Again, using their skill set based on a different way of thinking rather than, you're a winger, just go in the wing. That's what I'm going to do, and that's what I expect you to do. Will we get more out of them? Now, Martin O'Neill, and I feel great for him saying it, he was speaking about Yang, and he said, in short, what you and I say and sometimes get criticised about, but when it comes out of the mouth of Martin O'Neill, people go, fair play. And what did he say, Paddy? He said, and words to the effect of, he's a good player, there's talent in there, but it's confidence, and his problem is he can't do it every week.
Yes.
But he needs to do that. And I tell you what, he shut me up because I thought that was an excellent performance against a good side, and he done all the stuff that we've been criticising him for. Driving at his man, hitting the byline, hitting the net, and dare I say it as well, putting in some tackles. He wasn't too scared to get in about it. So well done, you, Yang. I don't know if your missus is back, but more of that, please.
I was just about to say that, Steve. Remember last time I played a couple of blinders and Brendan said that his missus was here and it was having an adverse effect on how he was playing. Well, I think his missus must be back because, listen, fantastic. And like you said, when it comes out of Martin O'Neill's mouth, I was sitting there quite chuffed. I was like, yeah, we said that, called it. You know what I mean? There's definitely a player there. He just needs to be more consistent. Same with guys like Hatate, mate. And listen, phenomenal. Real Hatate playing in that forward position where he doesn't really need to think about the tackling and the shite part of the game. When you let him just go and try and be the driving force, try and be the creative midfielder that he is, he's a lot better. And that's been the difference because, like you say, Steve, well, these players are getting told, yeah, right, you're a midfielder. Yeah, sit in the midfield. Don't deviate from there. Don't drive forward. Don't do this. Don't do that. Pass the ball sideways. Always make a good pass. Blah, blah. Martin O'Neill's took the lead off. And he really has. And we've said it so many times. I've always been lucky enough to speak to ex-players that have worked under him. And they all say the same thing. He doesn't manage. He doesn't complicate things. He lets you do what you're good at doing. And you're starting to see that with these players. Even Arnie Engels, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's like a different animal.
And here's the thing, to look at it broadly, did you feel like we actually learned from the defeat in Michelin and the sort of flat performance that we got against St Mirren? Because after the Michelin game and then the St Mirren game, I thought to myself, we sat and we spoke about these things like, was that a post-international hangover? What was it? You know, I couldn't really put a finger on it because everything that we had seen in those earlier games at Martin O'Neill was totally gone. It was out the window and it was just the same. It was like Rodgers-esque, the stuff we were complaining about. It was cautious, it was laboured, it was slow, the intensity was gone. But it all came back, and even with making changes, and that's what I like. So what I'm asking is what do you think we can take for that going into the game tomorrow? Because as you said, to a man, that midfield that we've criticised before, we've said Hatate, Engels, McGregor thing just doesn't work, by the way. Get it in the bin. It's no happening. But I don't know what it was, but every single one of them I thought had an excellent performance over in Holland. I thought Rio Hatate, a wee bit of a slow burn, but he then showed the class that we've been shouting out from. And again, we say about, it's not just us saying it, big heart on the commentary. He's a great player. He's talented. He's an enigma. He can do things others can't, but he doesn't do it enough. He's saying, do you know what I mean? But he did it. Engels, maybe he's found his role. The criticisms he's got from ourselves, from you, from people out there, put that to bed. But again, he needs to do it in the next game. He was like a midfield general, marauding about, breaking up play, snapping into tackles, playing some good balls. We need that. And then Cal McGregor, more advanced, just looked like he'd freedom. The midfield really worked, mate.
It did, mate, and that's it. Like you got the stickers made up. Remember Rio the Maverick, and that's what it was like, mate. He really was controlling everything in there. Callum McGregor was able to be the captain, was able to dominate and dictate to his players surrounding him what was going on and what he needed from them, and everybody benefited from that, mate. Arne Engels playing that wee bit further forward as well. McGregor done the breaking up, which listen, it's what he does. He's good at doing that, and when you give these guys that role and allow them to just have that wee bit of freedom instead of overcompensating, like what they need, overcomplicating, what they need to do. It works, mate, and it's something that we really need to look at going forward. Even guys like Yang, I think he's probably had a lot of overcoaching, to be fair. Like, Martin O'Neill would just say to him, exact same thing he said to Didier Gat when Didier was playing for him. Get it down to the byline, get the ball in the box. If you get a chance to charge inside the box, charge inside the box. Do what you can do. Don't overcomplicate it. Enjoy playing football. And the players looked as if they were really enjoying it, Steve. And that, for me, was one of the things that I was most happy about.
I think as well,
Hibs, like you said, you don't know what team you're going to get coming for Hibs. Somebody said in the chat there, I'm not sure who it was, play the same team against Hibs. I don't think we'll get the same team because we're playing that well, and even when we're bringing in different players, they're stepping up to the mark, and that's what you need. You're getting that like for like that we've always been shouting about as well.
Absolutely, and I think that, looking at the team tomorrow, I think one of the big things that I took from it, and again, people will criticise, right? People will criticise and they'll say stuff about, Feyenoord or this, Feyenoord or that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's Feyenoord or if it's Michelin or some of the other dross that have beat us. Factually, Celtic are garbage away from home in Europe. Like, let's be honest. So don't punch a gift horse in the mouth. Do you know what I mean? We're getting something that we're not used to getting. It doesn't matter how it comes about, but we get the victory. And I thought, when I watched it at the time, and I'm watching the game, it's kind of funny. I went back and I rewatched it. It's different how you look at it. I thought it's all right. It's comfortable. We obviously lose a goal. We'll talk about that. But I didn't think it was as good a performance. It wasn't until I watched it back. And then when I properly watched it back and says, right, okay, I can now, I'm removing the emotion, I'm removing the in the moment, just the excitement to follow in the game as it pans out. And now I can actually go back and look at it and go, was that as good as I'm seeing people, talking about online? And it was. And I think the main thing as well is there was a lot of fight. Now let's talk about how it started off. I thought we looked comfortable. And to be honest with you, the goal is defensively is a bad goal for us to lose, right? But it also, for me, came out of nowhere because up to that stage, there was a wee bit of back and forward, but I didn't think we were going to go behind. I thought we looked comfortable in the ball. We were moving it about. We didn't look shocked, but it's a fantastic ball, but it's a big splatter down the middle. I think maybe defensively, you could sort of, as you always do, you could minorly criticise the centre half. I think they're a bit narrow, they're a bit flat-footed, and the guy gets in, easy ball over, and the boy puts it away. But in games gone by, and this is again something that people say, well, that's what you expect, but you've got to, praise when it's due. A sucker punch like that normally results in Celtic conceding 5, 6, 10 minutes later. Yeah, but
definitely. Especially away from home, Steve. And I kind of expected that to come. You've seen that ball starting a few times. Obviously, Van Persie's highlighted the two centre halves and thought, you know what, my strikers have got the pace to get in behind them. And every time they got the ball, they they seem to just press. They were playing on that shoulder and they seem to just go, let them run and then play the ball over the top or through the middle or towards the centre half's feet. And I kind of seen it coming, to be honest. And when it happens, you go, oh, there we go, floodgates now. That's it. The heats are going to go down. But I just felt like there was something different, a belief that we've not seen in that squad. And I think that's how, because we've been used to the Brendan sides where we would have came out and done the same thing over and over and over again. And like we said before, it's definition of insanity. Just keep doing the same thing and expect different results. It's not going to happen.
Yes.
We didn't change the formation. We didn't change anything else. We just got back into the game and went, right, listen, we need to change a little bit here. So you see in the centre halves kind of sit back a little bit and go, right, wait a minute, if you're going to get in behind us, you're not going to have much space to run, because you knew they didn't have the pace to keep up with our strikers. So they sat a little bit deeper. And I think that just kind of...
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I thought that it was, having that character to come back, because normally that be the one that we lose a goal in the season in quick succession. You get it now. Obviously, we got our chances. There's the one, I think, when you look back at it, McCowan gets off the hook because I think it gets the offside. If it gets in the net, right? If it gets in the net, VAR's, it's onside, right? So we get away with one. But as we say, as we find our way back in the game, the defenders and that aren't particularly shook with it. And I thought up to that point, defensively were quite well. We mentioned Kobe Donovan. He comes in, a bit of a surprise. I thought a real sort of coming of age performance. So I thought he was excellent. And again, against good quality opposition, we thought that maybe the likes of him, as we've seen with Dane Murray, shaky performances, to get removed for the squad, think, right, that could be their season. It's dead, it's buried, it's over. He comes back in, he's an excellent performance, very well, assured, and he looked the part. But we get the goal on, and again, it's an excellent goal for Yang. What's quite funny though is it's a good sort of win for McCowan, and it goes into Hatate. And I think at first I'm like, what are you doing? I think he just sort of lobs it into the air, like it's directed. But back post, Yang's there and he fires home, and it's a good controlled goal, by the way. It's quite a hard technique. Absolutely love it.
Listen, that we've said before about Hatate with these daft balls and whatever else. It's stuff that other people might not notice. I think he's totally seen somebody at the back post there. He might be just trying to keep the ball in play, but we'll give the guy the benefit of the doubt. He's put the ball across, and Yang's there, exactly where you'd expect your winger to be, jogging into the back post, ready to tuck it away. If I can just talk about that Luke McCowan one as well, by the way, that's a miss that Stevo would have been happy with. That's up there with that. That was.
I'll give him a wee bit of the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he's maybe expecting it. It kind of falls, and he just
I'm not getting it, mate. Birthday card pish.
I know.
I don't care if he's a midfielder, a defender, a goalkeeper. If you are less than 6 yards out, you have to be able to put the ball into the back of the net. Regardless if it's been your knee, your toe, your arse, your eyeball, anything. Yeah. You've got to be going for there, man.
Well, I mean, obviously we get ourselves ahead. Before that, with a sort of another sort of scary moment, a loose ball for Hatate, Maeda, and they managed to get themselves through. Trusty's sort of chasing back. He's not getting a ton of pace. Donovan commits to the slide tackle, and Kasper Schmeichel gets a good save. But apart from that, we do all right. We then take control of the game. And Feyenoord don't really come into it till sort of late on before we then give them the sucker punch. But again, with the second goal, it's all about that sort of press, and it's good work again. Maeda's breathing down. The goalkeeper forces him into a guff pass, and Hatate puts it home. Folk are saying, it's a brilliant finish. It's composed, mate. Same you see the view from behind it. Like you are saying with McCowan, see if he doesn't put that in the net, it's a bad day. But that's the slice of luck you've got to take, mate. And it goes in our favour. And by that point, after I just think, we're taking control of this game, mate.
Yeah. It did. It looked a wee bit easier after that. I think we kind of relaxed. Obviously, you're watching it, like you say, Steve, you watched it twice. So at that point where you kind of feel the drop-off in pressure, we were sitting watching it live, and you think, right, you get one right, we're in the lead, right, perfect, excellent. And you're still sitting there kind of gritted, like, come on, let's do this. But I feel like we did start to ease into it a wee bit more, got that control. I don't know if you've seen Van Persie's interview as well, and he speaks about Maeda.
Yes.
Speaks about Maeda and says the pressure.
Celtic as well.
He says he speaks of that pressure that Daizen Maeda puts defenders under and puts goalkeepers under. And that's something that we are going to need to bottle up, mate. We're going to need to get some of this instilled into our other wingers, because it's something that come January we're going to be missing, mate.
Yeah.
And and you look at all of the chances that Maeda creates and the carnage it causes, and it's something that I think we really need to get back into that club. And I'm not sure, obviously, Wilfred Nancy's supposedly bringing in a couple of backups already. Not seen much of them, but hopefully you've got guys that are going to provide a work rate like that.
Of course, I guess in January we're going to have to. There's going to be changes. Obviously, there's talk about Maeda moving on.
Yes.
Potentially, maybe there's always been the rumours of Hatate, and then we'll take care of it. There'll be guys that are away, internationals and things, but we do need it. But aside from it, I think as thin as the squad's looking now, and with the injuries, we're still proving that they can lift their game and they can do a job. Obviously, as at that point, we're 2-1. I think we really take control of the game. We get a substitute around at classic time. McCown, who's playing out of position, he comes off. Negrin comes on. I thought both Negrin and McCown, for not being proper wingers, McCown in particular, I think he had a bit of slow, maybe a wee bit messy start, but he came into the game and he definitely shows that there's a point and a place for him in the squad. Would I have him as a starter? No, I wouldn't, but I think good performance, grew into the game, and he gave a good account of himself. For that point, even though we're 2-1 up, Feyenoord there's a wee sort of 20-minute period where I thought, right, they're coming in, there's a lot of pressure. There's one Cal McGregor headers it off the line. Then there's that, consecutive, they get the corner, there's a shot, it flashes wide, there's another one, they hit the bar. It's all looking a bit messy. But in Europe, you know yourself, you've got to ride your luck. And I said to you, and folk again might not like the comparison, that was a Rangers away type performance where they get a goal into them and you think, oh, right, there we go, brilliant, yes. Then they get one back. Then they just find a wee foothold in it. Then they get their cell ahead. Then they ride the lightning, and then the soccer goal comes in 3-1. You're like, how the fuck did they win that game?
Aye,
but
it was one of the games, Stevo, and like you said, it's something that we're not used to doing in Europe. And the later stages here, obviously, it just feels like since Martins came in, we've got that belief in Europe. We've got the belief it doesn't matter who we're playing. Like you say, going away and winning in Europe is something that we've always really struggled with. And you can think back all the way right back until Martin's time at Celtic, and that's we probably had our kind of best results, other than the away win at Spartak when Big Sammy scored the winner. Yeah. Other than times like that, mate, it's something that we've always really struggled with. And like you said, it was a Rangers-esque performance away from home. They always seem to get that. I understand what you're saying there,
Don't get me wrong, by saying Rangers-esque, I know that they quite often will just sit in and they'll absorb and they'll do it dirty. No, I mean in terms of those slices of luck that they always seem to get and never seem to fall Celtic's way, but then they capitalise on it and then they take the game and grab it with the scruff of the neck, as we have seen them do before. Not right now because they're garbage still, right? But I liked it. And then obviously we get a couple of substitutions, we get the usual sort of switches round. Other than up until we scored the third, the only thing that I would maybe slightly criticise from a Celtic perspective is Tanecki. And again, it comes back to what I said about him. I think he's a great player. I think there's a lot in there. But there's a point where he has a brilliant run that gets in. He just fluffs his lines. I mean, he's got to take that shot there. He's got to have a bit more confidence and put that in the back of the net, because it's opened up for him. He overcomplicates it. He loses the ball. But that's not really too much to worry about. And then obviously later on we get it. There's only one other thing I do want to mention, and it was a VAR check, is the Engels yellow card, which they looked at for a wee red. Again, do you know what? I think it is quite a rash tackle. In European football, I've seen red cards given for less. But to be honest, I like that, and it's what we said about him. Putting himself about a very workmanlike midfield general type performance. Do you know what? I'm all for him doing that kind of thing. Because that's something. When's the last time you've actually seen Arne Engels going to a slide tackle full-heartedly? What, never? So
it's a part of his game, Steve, that we've been asking for. We've been saying, right, we need this guy to show a bit of aggression. He's playing in Scotland and he's playing against, no offence, knuckle draggers every single week. Guys who don't really go out there they're not the most skillful of footballers and whatever. But most of them will try and just kick you off the ball if you're quite silky or if you're good with your feet and stuff like that. And Engels, we've always said he needs to have that wee bit about him. He needs to have a bit of aggression. Yeah. And you've seen that. You've seen that wee bit about him, mate. And listen, I'm all for people going in for tackles and stuff, but you've got to remain, what's the word? You've got to keep it in the rule book as well. I think, like you said, we've seen red cards given for less. And I think he was quite lucky to stay on the park, if I'm being honest.
Well, it is what it is, and we'll take it, as we say, but a good performance all round, and it's topped off, cherry on top is the finish for Negrin. It's a brilliant strike, and again, Negrin, he's always got this kind of knack. Yes, sometimes he flatters to deceive, but he always seems to position himself in the right place to get a shot off. His goal return is fantastic. I think, again, he's another player that could do so much more in his game, but when the good's going, you've got to take it. And by that point, well and truly deserved. It buries it, and it takes out that wee bit of momentum with them sort of look like they're clawing their way back into the game. It just kills it stone dead. The points are secure. And, as we say, 7 points, mate. 7 points with a handful of games left to go. Winnable games as well. Roma will be what happens with Roma.
Side, yeah.
Yes, but, you look at the other games, there's a real chance. To say 10 points should get you through. But no bad step, mate.
What is it, top 24? Is it top 24?
Same deal. Aye, same deal. Top 24.
Aye. So we're sitting in a decent enough position, Steve. Well, like you said, the Roma game, you look at that and you think, right, anything for the Roma game, for me, is a bonus. You look at Utrecht and you think, yeah, that should be 3 points. And then you're kind of, I don't know, it's just whether you can progress at that point. I think Utrecht's the last one, isn't it? Is Utrecht the last one at home?
Aye, I believe so. Aye.
So,
I mean, come on.
We're in there. Do you know what I mean? We're in with a shout. We're sitting quite positive at the minute. We're sitting relatively decent. There are worse positions to be in. We could be 33rd out of a 36-team league, but we're not. So, listen, we're sitting not pretty. We're sitting high enough up to be in with a shout. I think there's a good opportunity for us to progress here, and I think that if we do,
mate, when you've got to look at Bologna, tight game away in Italy. Bologna could be tight, right? Of course it could, but again, if you can get a workmanlike performance and get something out of that, if you can get yourself even a draw, you put yourself in good stead. Roma's at Celtic Park now. They're a good team. Let's not dismiss that. But again, at Celtic Park, and at the time it's going to be coming now, we know tomorrow's going to be the final bout. And on that, are you quite happy? People are saying keep Martinelli on and stuff, but I think you cannot, as much as it's, as you say, birthday care pushing all the Mrs. H you saying all the time, but as much as it's idealistic and we'd love to see him stick around and lift the cup and things, you can't delay what needs to happen. You need to get folk in. There's chat of them being a Celtic ex-person in and around the squad. I'm led to believe, unconfirmed at the moment, all the chat saying Sean Money, and I'm all right with that for a level of consistency. To be the guide between now and the end of the season, to have Sean Maloney in, to keep things, to be that sort of conduit between the temp team and the final team, and see if it just goes through to the end of the season, he allows him to bed in, get his feet under the table, and then he goes back to his step-down job. I'm all right with it, mate.
Yeah. The thing is, mate, it's one of the things, we would all love to see Martin there to pick up the first trophy of the season. We'd love to see him have it until January and whatever else. He's doing a great job. But like Martin says, he's not the one doing the day-to-day training. That's all done by Sean Maloney and his background staff. Martin O'Neill's there. Like I said before, he was in to pacify the fans. And for me, he's done that. He's done a fantastic job. He's pacified the fans. Now it's time to get in a new manager and for us to actually give him time to bed in. And we've got a few good games coming up, a few absolute crackers for Nancy to get his teeth into and see what he needs come January. Because come January, we are going to need to heavily invest in this team, whether we like to say that or not, or whether we think we're going to get it or not.
I mean, what I'm hoping here is a positive result, obviously, tomorrow. Positive result tomorrow. Send Martin O'Neill off into the sunset. I think a lot of that performance against Feyenoord would have been a case of course, it's because you want to win, but the flatness of the game against Feyenoord, wanting to pay the manager back, wanting to send them out on a high on there, but then 2 games, treating them like cup finals to send them out on a high. Thank you for your service. Thanks for coming in. And I think that's what's going to happen. But you got that wee manager bounce. You're then going to get another new manager coming in who will want to play exciting type of football. That's got to get people on side. That's got to, put people a spring in their step. And again, it's another chance to prove yourself because players are wanting to secure a spot, show what they've got. And that'll be a secondary wee bounce. And when you look at it, there's some tricky games coming up. Of course there is. Very difficult sort of games for them. First one at home against Dundee. Yep. you've got to say that's as easy a landing as you could get at first. No guarantees, but good starter at home. Then again, Hearts at home. All right, you're at home. It's Hearts. Big chance. We'll see how the results pan out over this weekend. That could be a game that puts you on top. That big game puts you, in the driving seat. I mean, give us a bit of that. And then, of course,
if you're a new manager coming in, Stevo, and they say that to you, listen, you've got 2 games and potentially put your team top of the league. And if you do that at this point in the season, and we go top, I said it before, I said it last week, Hearts' arse was going to collapse. And it's happening, mate. You can see it happening.
Listen, I'm not going to back off and just claim I thought that all along. I still take Hearts as a credible sort of threat. I think it would be foolish not to. Yes, they've fallen away. My big question was, I don't doubt that Hearts will lose points. The question was, could we also keep distance and not lose points? So we've just got to take care of our own house. That's where my sort of assessment of Hearts came in. It wasn't, I thought, oh my God, this league's over, we're done for.
Yeah.
I says, damage control to January, keep in touch and distance, or if you can, get yourself ahead and then take it for there. There's no doubt, regardless, mate, whether we finish the end of this year on top of the league or just behind, January's massive, right? Yeah. Because we already know Hearts have pre-prepared things. Rangers, with their new setup, again, they can't be garbage and turmoil forever. One point, they're going to get it right. And Hearts will also invest. If they're behind by 2 points, 3 points, whatever it may well be, they'll be behind. We've still got to play them twice.
Aye.
They're not going to take the foot off. So we've got to be, impeccable in January. And that is a big ask for this board. But I think now's the time. We said on here, let's try and be positive. We know the whole, the board situation, the circus off the field. Yes, let's not lose sight of that. Let's continually push for meaningful change. But also, it's so important that we get behind the team and we get behind the management staff that are in, up till tomorrow, Martin O'Neill, moving forward, Wilfred Nonce and co. Get behind them. Let's try and enjoy the football. Let's try and, put the other distractions, give them the attention they need, but don't let it consume us. And let's push this team over the line. January's massive, and I think given the backdrop and the shit show that's went, I expect us to get people in because you just simply can't. It's so precarious right now, Paddy.
Yeah, listen, you just need to look at the AGM and stuff like that and how things have kind of panned out. The board know that there's a massive unrest with parts of the fan base, they'll say, but it's with quite a lot of the fan base, we'll say. And if they don't invest in January, mate, it's going to be absolute.
All we needed was Father Ross to give his addressing down to get to put a bit of fire in the belly to go out and do results of that.
What an absolute fucking melt. Do you know what? See him coming out and giving it like the fans and just talking about the fans in that kind of manner. And that's obviously coming for his old man, mate. That disgusted me. And for Peter Lawwell to be sitting there treating everybody else like kids, telling people to behave and things like that, mate, that's not how you run a business. That's not how you speak to your shareholders. Do you know what I mean? And that's my kind of take on it. So if this board doesn't invest in January, like I said, mate, it'll be chaos. Do you know what I mean? Whether we're sitting top of the league, if we're sitting top of the league come January and we're sitting, 10th in Europe, right? We're guaranteed to go through and have latter stages of the Europa League. And they turn around and go, no, we're doing all right. We don't need to invest.
Paddy, we're in a good spot. Now, this is a great opportunity for Celtic. As it stands at the moment, Hearts are still not each. 55 minutes gone. Motherwell the ball in the net, cut off, offside. If they take a draw, we could be in charge of our own destiny. I mean, we always are. We've got to do that. But as they start to falter, we can take advantage. On a good result, sending Martin O'Neill off on a high there, getting in Wilfred Nonce. If it is going to be Sean Maloney that sticks about for the continuity, great. Let's just push through, get ourselves in there. But I think looking at it, I'm behind. Look, Wilfred Nonce, we've sat here and we've spoke about it, myself and Terry, we've all had a wee look at him. Is he a bit of a gamble? Yes, he is. Of course he is. Undoubtedly. Let's not kid ourselves on, right? But the optics see what he does. I'm positive about it. And as much as I would love a blue chip name, a marquee name, if it's going to go in tandem with Celtic doing things a bit differently, trying to do proper data-driven, recruitment and modernise, and he's the guy that's used to doing it, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be seamless. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. The important thing is that he needs to hit the ground running, right? We can't go in an Ange-esque sort of initial run like when he first done. That's the hardest part for him. But anything that I've read, anything that I've watched in terms of people talking about him, this guy's considered to be a hot commodity. I mean, I know people turn their nose up at the MLS, but he's considered to be hot shit over there, right? And he could probably go to any other MLS team, but he's been given this opportunity to come and get a massive club like Celtic as his next destination. Now, what I will say about him as well is people turn around and turn their nose up and say, it's a punt, it's a punt. And again, listen, I get that. But what I would also say is, see, considering how, as you've just said about the fan unrest and how people are absolutely fuming, right? See, knowing that this appointment had to be right, I'm kind of hoping at least that this has been one of those situations where he's been admired from afar, maybe with a view of the end of season, because Rodgers was going to leave at the end of season. And there's been a bit of due diligence done on this. Not that they've just went, well, see this guy here, let's have a wee bit of him, right? And it's quite funny because it wasn't just us talking about it, and those across the city that want to slag us off. There was a great article put out by the Rangers Review when they were looking for a manager, telling us all about how great this guy was and how he would have been a fantastic fit for Rangers Football Club. Yeah. So again, I know they're not a barometer to use, but there's other people saying it, mate.
Aye. Now, listen, he's one of the ones, Stevo, and you'd said it before when we spoke about him on here. His team sitting third in the league with the 17th highest budget. So obviously he's worked well with a pretty shitty budget in the American League. And people can say what they want, but when you look at the coefficient points and you look at the kind of league standings, where leagues sit in the world, the American League is higher than us. It's higher than FPL, so he's actually playing at a higher standard than what we are at the minute. So coming in, I'm looking forward to it. This forward thinking, this attacking minded, this even the way he does his recruitment. It's kind of analytical.
Analytics. I mean,
driven, something like that. So that's all.
The good thing is going forward, I think we've got enough decent players at this moment to do that attack minded play, right? The biggest risk would always be when you want to go gung-ho and go forward and do that sort of free-flowing football, is defensively you can be exposed. Now, we do have our problems, of course, we do defensively, but if everybody is fit, you get, we'll need to get signs in, let's be honest, right? But if you've got an Alistair Johnson there, the way that Trusty's been playing, Kieran Tierney or a Sarashi on for him, I feel there's enough legs to recover and get back, and they're genuinely speaking quite defensively solid enough to do it. So I'd be less worried if you have, like, say, what we had with Ange, where he was just coming in, wholesale changes and trying to make it happen, going to throw people together and make it happen, right? You're not throwing people together. They are together. They're already in place. They're maybe getting told to play a different way, but they know each other, and that's half the battle. Maybe some of the problems early on with Ange's system is they completely switched the style of play. A lot of these people, remember, that are still at the club have played under Ange, so they'll be used to that, so it won't be completely alien to them. So even that, ramp up the intensity a wee bit, I think it can still work for us, mate, and it's positive. But let's have a wee quick look before we finish up at tomorrow. Everybody's saying same team tomorrow, Paddy. You go with that?
No, I don't think we will, mate. I think there will be a few changes in there. I think that we'll fitness. I'd seen Iheanacho was on the bench against Feyenoord, so possibly a comeback for Iheanacho in there. You maybe see Dyson revert back to the left. Yang, for me, has to get a start. I think he's earned a start. He was fantastic. I think midfield-wise, I would probably stay the same. I think defensively-wise, if Tony Ralston is fit, I could see him starting ahead of Kobe Donovan. But other than that, I think it basically the rest of the team picks itself for me. I don't know if we'd go with the same team. I can't see that happening. What about you? Would you think?
I think it probably would do, to be honest with you. I think that it's I think, as Thomas is saying, the likes of my head on the left and stuff's a waste. I think the bones of the team are good enough there. They just need to go and kick on and do exactly what they've done there. A lot of guys need to follow through with backup performances for what they've done midweek. That midfield stays the same for me. Show that same level of intensity. There's plenty there, I think, to get the job done. But we'll take it as it comes. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. So he says, just a wee quick pop-up one there for you there. We've both got stuff to do. Wanted to sort of chew the fat before that. As it stands, we're nearly 65 minutes at Fir Park. It's still not an each shot at this moment in time. Things are going our way. We'll see how that one pans out. And of course, we are a 12 o'clock kickoff tomorrow. But get yourselves back here tomorrow night because we'll come back on. We'll talk about it. And hopefully, Paddy, we're sitting in a right good spot, eh?
Yeah, listen, quick predictions. I'm going to go for 3-1 Celtic. Going to give Hibs a goal. Obviously, you get away from a goal. So I'm going to go straight in. I'll go 3-1 Celtic. What I'll do as well is over on the TikTok, Celtic World Order podcast on TikTok, I'll do a wee competition. We'll do a wee giveaway if you get the correct goal scorer and a correct score.
There you go. So more reasons to follow Celtic World Order. Get yourself involved. 2-1. I'm going to say, I'll say 2-0. I think, as I always like to say, I love it. I just like you saying, we'll ride the lightning for a wee bit. Hibs will turn up and do a good version of Hibs, but I think we'll be solid enough and we'll put them to bed. 2-0. I am also going to stick my neck out in the line. I hope I don't curse it. I still foresee a draw between Motherwell and Hearts panning out here. I'd love a 4-1. But one thing is, I think it's definitely going to be full of energy. I think the fact that it's Martin O'Neill's send-off, I think that's enough to put a wee bit of extra juice in the tank for the team. And that's it. You know, Kev's going another 3-0, loads of 3-0, loads of positivity. And then, of course, Monday morning, is it going to be the start of the Celtic French Revolution? Either way, Paddy, we'll be here to talk about it, and we are fully behind it. And we say to everybody, get behind the manager. He might not have been your ideal choice, but if what we've seen on him, what we've heard about him is anything to go by, we could be getting some exciting football. So let's embrace the unknown, Paddy.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Listen, we're not going to be standing outside Celtic Park with blue, white and red flags. Let's be honest, we're not going to be standing there welcoming in, but the French Revolution is coming. So listen, viva la revolution. Let's get behind the manager.
That's it.
Whoever's in that hot seat, we stand by them and we back them. So listen,
absolutely,
let's embrace the change. Let's see
Paddy,
what's happening.
Thank you for joining us. I say it's just a wee quick pop-up one just to say hi and shoot the breeze. Hope you're having a great afternoon, and obviously, hopefully we'll be smiling at the end of the afternoon as hopefully Hearts drop points, but we've got to take care of business tomorrow. We'll be back later on tomorrow night to talk about that. So until the next time, take care of yourselves, hit subscribe, hit the like, you know what to do, get involved, and of course, Paddy, tell them now.
As always, guys, hail, hail.